Hello.
Hi, Yi Wang. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Welcome to the Original You podcast. We are recording.
Sure.
So I'm going to start from the top. Can you tell us who you are in this moment? Who you believe yourself to be, who you feel yourself to be?
Right now at this moment, I'm a dream chaser. I'm pursuing my dreams about become not only a better person, but really achieve my goal to create a meaningful journeys through this life. And also, I think what I wanted to be is a person that can really have a meaningful experience and meaningful journey of life. And that's who I am and where I wanted to go.
Great. And can you tell us a little bit about how people, family members, mentors, teachers, the human community has shaped who you are?
Absolutely. So I think my parents play the biggest part in my journey so far and shaped who I am. Growing up in Asian culture in China, parents have a very more impactful and more bigger role in our life. As I grew up, I was pretty much influenced by their own thoughts and Asian parents. My parents are some I can see it as a very stereotype. They wanted me to have a better career, better jobs, try and they overprotected me. So because they think that they know from their journey what could be wrong. So they push me to the direction that they think is right. Even though they're protecting myself, but sometimes I feel like I'm not really understand if that's the right direction. So that thought sometimes conflicting with the direction they post, and that pretty much consider my own childhood or my first 20 years of my life, having a conflicting feelings towards my love from my parents and towards the dream I have. And but after I leave them, I started my journey overseas to pursue my higher educations. And that I start to really discover myself, and not only through my education, but also through my friends, my surrounding, my different cultures. I moved from one country to another, from Asians to North America, and I meet a lot of people as a friend and supporting me, and also give me different perspective of their own life and their own experience. That
Mm.
also shaped my entire perspective of life. And so friends and family takes really big part about shaping who I am and take me where I am right now.
So you said you are a dream chaser and you've been pursuing your dreams as well as to live a meaningful experience in your life here on this earth. And you said that initially that was structured a lot by the conflicts with your parents, but then you grew to understand that although they were being protective of you, they really wanted what was best for you. But it took you a journey of self discovery to get there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Can you take us through the initial doubts that you had about their intentions to how you overcame those doubts?
So I think I wanted to start with what happened when I was a kid, as when I have those doubt. And I think as a lot of teenagers may have been through, or a lot of young people have been through,
Mm-hmm.
when they see their past is or they see something different other than their parents are told, they could be rebellious and try to really think about something different, just try to rebel or try to go against what the parents say. And that was what I experienced in the early age. And I oversee partially just because I wanted to get away from a lot of dominance, a lot of authorities. And but at that time, I didn't know what actually it is by shaping myself and actually pursuing a real dreams. Have a entire skeptical, have a very blurred and vaguely defined as dream, become a better person and probably have a better salary. But actually, but that was like a reflection about my parents said anyway. But one experience something overseas and facing challenges, such as getting isolated, being bullied, and also had times when I lose my own family members and having extremely hard work to go through. And then I realized that it's important to really become a strong person and also independent persons in order to really find or really understand what I'm looking for in this life. So that's the beginning of my own discovery. I really try to think about myself as an individual. And then I think the most important thing I discovered to my life is how my love to my family start to also take a part of my decisions. And I deeply started to get passionate about healthcare, be passionate about pharmaceutical development because when I was far away from my families, I wasn't able to provide support, doesn't really know how to help them with their health. And eventually actually I lose someone I really care when I was miles away. And I finally realized how important the health it is to everyone and to especially my loved one. So I decided to pursue the career purely in healthcare, devote myself into this path because I find that's the only way meaningful to show my love when I'm far away from my parents, my friends. So yeah, that's how my life is so far.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So both your love for your family and the losses in your family shaped the direction of your life
Yeah,
and who you became.
yeah.
So that's great. With regard to your education, what role did education play in shaping your life, including your trajectory of where you went in the world?
Yeah, yeah, I really appreciate the education I have received because first I was under the traditional education from Chinese that we have the national test. The structure of the education is very different from the Western format.
Mhm.
Everybody was having exam the same proportion, the same class. Everything was fixed. You have to take science, you have to take physics, you have to take literatures, but you don't really know what's the point about why this is going to be helpful for your career. Everybody will just go through this cooking cutter educations. And fortunately or unfortunately, I failed my national test in China and I have to take a detour, become a vulture, some international vulture to seek a better education. But when I went overseas, I finally find, oh, okay, I don't have to study something I don't like. I just need to study something I'm really good at and find out how I can make them an asset of my career. So it's a way not really to have a cookie cutter path, but always to try to actively figure out how you can transfer your passion into something valuable as your career or as your entire experience, the entire give it to your life. I studied science and biology, and it helped me to appreciate healthcare. And also, because I appreciate it, I start to put more energy on biotech and on health tech. And I pursue further and further in that path. I from Singapore to Australia, then finally ended into state. I travel miles because I'm really passionate about what I learn. It's not because I thought it could lead to a particular career like a doctor or like a doctor, but it's more about I think this is something I believe myself. This is something I like, and I can definitely achieve somewhere if I'm just being the best of my area. So educations in Western worlds really help me to think differently and to really pursue my passion and understand how passion it is important, how passionate it is towards a better career. So my education really plays a lot of parts in taking where I am right now. And I really appreciate the fact that I actually failed my national test and pursued the kind of journeys towards a westernized education.
So it must have also been difficult, like you said, to be miles away from the people who loved you during that time, but you had this amazing drive to go forward and to solve problems and
Yes.
to figure out a path of your own. Like you said, not a cookie cutter path, but a path of your own.
Yeah.
So I think that's really inspiring. I wanted to learn also about you had hurdles, you had challenges. I would think like new language, new cultures to adapt to. How
Mm.
did you overcome those very big challenges in new places that you encountered?
Yeah, that's a very good question because I did been through a lot of different hurdles or different challenges through every stage of my life, especially when I was alone overseas studies and as a young age. But I think the fundamental things that I use to overcome is actually my own, how to say, my personality or my own methodology towards looking at different things. The interesting fact about myself is that I always believe, even when I was a kid, I believe that everybody have a purpose to be born into this earth, this world.
Mm,
Even though when I was a kid, I didn't know what it is, but I just have this strong belief there is a purpose. So when I had all this difficulty, all these challenges, setback, sadness, disappointment during my later stage, I still feel like there must be some meaning for all this event. And it's definitely towards a designated goal. So that's helped me to think in a positive way and not to give up and not to surrender on all these challenges. And also, I'm a person that is incredibly positive and confident, and I always have this kind of a stupid person thought or layman thought is I'm still alive and tomorrow would never be worse than being dead. And if I have this, I don't think there's anything can really bring me down as long as and I can just move forward. And so that's the kind of a stupid but a positive mentality I have when I overcome, like when I face any kind of challenges. So that's how I overcome all the challenges in my life in the past 30 years, I'd say.
And but did you find language difficult? Did you find the new cultures difficult to get used to? Can you describe the challenge itself?
Oh, yes, all the times. I'll give you an example. So when I first started with Singapore, actually Singapore, that 70% of people know how to speak Chinese. So it wasn't a big culture shock for me when I went to Singapore. But still, the people there, they don't really think themselves as Chinese. They think themselves as Singaporean, so they have different identity. As a Chinese, when they're talk Chinese, and also have an accent, for them actually is not ideal situations. They don't want to treat you like their own kind. So that
Mm.
actually made me feel at very beginnings very lonely, very sad. We're not able to immerse into the culture, even though I was working really hard on my language, on my English skill, but it's still, I cannot change my accent. I was born with it, but that actually become a hurdle at the beginning of my age to get into the culture and to really be accepted by different kinds of people. So I saw at the very beginning, and this is gonna be something I carried for the entire life. And I feel a little bit inconfident about that ever since. But as my journeys go on and building more skills and went to different kinds of cultures, like I went to Australia, then I end up in the States. I finally started to see that how diverse the different culture is. There was the further I go, I can see the more diverse the culture can be. And I should be proud of myself being a part of a diversity and keep learning and keep actually show my own identity. Instead of like shying away, say that I have to be sounds like American, I have to act like American. I should be able to comfortable acting like immigrants with accent, just as long as I'm excelling, I'm doing things right. My identity actually is the beauty of myself. And people, if they don't embrace it, that's their own problem. But most of the time, I find people, especially in the state, they really somebody have their own cultural heritage, cultural. They know where it come from, and that's
Mhm.
something I feel like I feel fearless when I present myself. And also, if there's any challenges, any in if something I wasn't able to understand, I don't feel there's some problem for me to communicate, there's any problem for me to learn anything new. So that's my take about the cultural difference and the cultural difficulty.
That's great and said. What about technology? We talked about family and how that shaped you, how the human community has shaped you. How about technology? How has that shaped who you've become and your journey?
Oh, absolutely. That takes a lot of part in my journeys, embrace and also understand the technology. Because as I mentioned before, is I'm very passionate about healthcare. So the technology I'm always looking at as the technology advancement in biotech areas and pharmaceutical development. And it also because I have always this feeling about how much how important it is for everybody, for of course my own family to become healthier. And then I decided to study biotechnology and did a study almost pursue a medical degree is because that I believe that there will be a way to stand on the frontier of biotechnology innovations, my family and other people to become healthier. But when I went to my internship program in Australia, I find there's a limitation about what doctor can achieve because there's no new drugs. A doctor cannot prescribe anything, so they limit themselves the ability to save people if there's no advancement in the technology. And at that point, I was told about this new thing called AI. And that will actually advance technology was said it will advance drug development 10 times faster. I was skeptical at the very beginning, but after I learned about this, I think that's the new direction of the technology. So I decided not to pursue a doctor degree, but to study statistics to understand machine learning, data science, and eventually AI. And then I decided to pursue my career in data science. And now I'm building a own company that is AI healthcare tech. And that's exactly, I feel like, how this is gonna become like a more meaningful for everybody and how for everybody's health well-being. So yes, technology is actually entire my career. It's my entire career, and I drive myself to what I want to build and also to what I can do as a person.
I remember you had said you're a problem solver by nature.
Yes.
And so once you have in your vision a specific problem, one way or the other, you're going to solve it. Technology has come in to help with that because you've seen that it actually does improve your own problem solving.
Yes.
So in your company, you're using technology.
Yes. Yeah, I'm using AI to help AI become actually safer. Use AI to make AI become safer.
Wow, how does that work?
Yeah, so I just give you a nutshell.
Okay.
A lot of AI, when they talk to people, their objective is to actually get people hooked up. They don't really care about the people, whether they're addicted or they have their own mental health issue. So potentially, if everybody's so addicted to AI, and they can develop some mental health problem. So there's a different ways. What if we trained an AI that understand the thought of human diagnose, like mental health, really understand how important the mental health is and prevent the conversations keep going when he discover a mental health problem. And that will make AI safer. So that use, so think about this like an AI therapist that are looking at other AI and to help them say, you for this person, you shouldn't talk in that way. Yeah, you should talk in a different way to make sure that it didn't get something delusional, they didn't get something like mental healthly very or bad. Then so that's the kind of the how to tell AI to become safer.
Wow, that's so interesting. So AI for AI in a
Yeah, a
specific
therapist
area.
for AI.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's excellent. Are there any other comments that you'd like to make? It's been a very eventful and really inspiring life so far, the journey and the path that you've been on. Is there anything else that actually stands out to you about who you are?
Yes, thank you. So I think that I know this is a podcast that some people may listening and some people may relate to my experience as first generation immigrants or maybe Chinese or Asians or having pursuing something they wanted to have pursuing something in their life. I think it's like I wanted to share is about being yourself and embrace your identity is the most important thing for you to have a meaningful life and also to overcome all the challenges you face. Being an immigrant is not something you should hide, or being like a minority group is not something you should hide. It's something you should show actually in the contrary. And that would, if you really have the audacity to show who you are and to let people to show your vulnerability, to say people your strengths, and that really will take you to a better place in life.
That's great. Thank you so much. I was so happy to have you on this podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, enjoyed talking to you.
Same here.